specialize in music most people hate. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out our Facebook page, Instagram, and our website. Let us share the noise with you.
Yo, this is John from Noise Dosage Media, and this episode is brought to you by Begrudgingly Benny. Interested in putting something horrific and grotesque on your next piece of merch? Benny is tucked away in the fiery depths of COVID quarantine, blasting the filthiest of old school death metal and drawing hideous creatures that he is waiting for you to adopt. Go over to Instagram and follow @BegrudginglyBenny and contact him if you would like some really weird original art for your band or label. Super professional, highly recommended. All right, so what's up? We got Jonas from Bloodbath and Katatonia on Noise Dosage Media. This is one of my highlights. I am super happy this is happening. So I'm going to blast you with a few questions. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. So with being, the founding member to such massive projects, what are some of the top things you've learned along the way?
Wow, that's I would say it's a lot of stuff that we had to pick up along the way because I think one thing is that you have to be determined and you have to put in a lot of hard work if you want to make it somehow.
Right.
So it's not necessarily just about talent, I would say. It's also about making sacrifices and be ready to do stuff that you maybe didn't dream about when you were thinking you would be a rock star or something. There's a lot of other stuff coming along at the same time. So that's probably the stuff I would say.
I've been told, like half of the battle is just learning how to promote yourself. And that's totally true because I don't know, yeah, you could be a good musician, but if you don't know how to promote yourself, where the hell are you going to take it? So,
yeah, that's true as well. You have to learn how to sell your idea of music and find the people that are, somehow connected to it or could be connected to it. So you find a little fan base and then you just try to go from there, basically.
Right. Okay. So, what are some personality traits that you have that have been essential to battling through these projects?
What do you mean?
So you said you're determined and all, but what are some other traits that you have?
I don't know. You just, I think
for me, when it comes down to music, a trait I have is either I am very motivated or I'm not motivated, and when I am, I need to get shit done.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. I'm a little bit like that myself. I think you should try to focus on being creative when you feel that you have a period where you can be creative. And if you feel like shit and not doing stuff like that, you shouldn't try to force it because it's just going to be a mess anyway. So I think it's important to learn and see and know the kind of periods that you have in your brain, what's going to happen and what you can do with it.
Right. The one thing I've learned recently is to make a riff folder, like a solid, I don't know. Every time I write, I put it in this folder, even if it's crap, because that's how I gain my inspiration. I don't know about you, but
that's a smart thing. I don't have a riff folder. Maybe I should have one actually, because I do a lot of riffs, which I forget about.
Yeah.
And I do record a lot of stuff as well, but I don't keep them in folders like that because I usually try to set out and finish a song
right
at once.
You do the full thing.
Yeah, and usually it doesn't work like that. But then I just record a few riffs and I just forget about that session, and then I do something new the next time. So It's a good idea actually to keep a folder full of riffs like Kirk Hammett had in his phone.
Hell yeah. Well, don't lose it in your
No.
phone though. That's the thing. I have 3 separate hard drives, 1 terabyte each, man.
Yeah, that's
it's
good.
like backed up 3 times. So
Yeah, that's smart.
yeah, I just started doing that. I've been playing guitar for like 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
So I've lost so much shit.
Yeah, same here.
So what are your thoughts on being a multi-instrumentalist versus only honing in to one specific thing?
It's mainly by accident that I've learned how to play a number of instruments, because I was never, determined enough to learn just a single instrument and get really good at it. So what I'm doing now is just trying to cheat on and trying to just make things sound better than they are, basically. But I like the situation that I have now, or the sort of because it allows me to. I'm able to create stuff that I wouldn't probably be able to do if I just could play one single instrument. So it gives me an overview, and I think that's helpful when you are a songwriter specifically, because you can try different things on your own and not have to wait for a keyboard player to show up somewhere,
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I feel like just being a guitarist myself, like I write the backbone of the song, but like you gotta wait for all those parts. And
Yeah.
Learning how to do that is one thing. Like I could play bass, but like I'm not specifically trained to be a bass player.
No.
What if you only could choose like one instrument or vocals, what would it be? What do you enjoy the most?
I haven't played it for many years now, but it would be drums, because that's where I started, and it's still the instrument that impresses me the most. Good players, good drummers. I can watch videos forever just looking at cool fills and stuff. So I would love to be able to play the drums, but unfortunately that career ended a long time ago. So I have to, I'm pretty good at programming drums, and that's where I'm, doing my stuff.
Yep.
But I do love the drums. It's an amazing instrument. You can do so much with it, and So
I was just talking to Chris from Deicide the other day, and he said to me, "You're probably gonna agree with this. Your death metal band is only so good as your drummer. Your drummer is like the key thing to a good death metal band. Like, what's your thoughts on that?"
That's completely true. I mean, in death metal, drums is such a, important element. And if you don't have a really good drummer, then the band's going to suffer for sure. Even if you have great guitarists or a perfect death metal vocalist, it's not going to matter so much anyway. So that's completely true.
I mean, he basically was saying like, so you got a good riffer, like, like a solid guitar player, but it just brings it to the next level if they're like fucking, Dream Theater on the drums.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And I also think you should, in a band, I mean, it's a good thing, at least for in my bands, that a band is sort of feeling each other, having played a lot together and having knowing each other's musicality and all that. So that's also a perk, I would say, if you want to have a band that sounds like a real band.
Exactly. I was reading on Wikipedia, but I don't know, like that's sometimes a good source and sometimes a really shitty source. That you kind of gave up on death metal vocals, like you're just doing cleans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you miss doing the death metal growls, or are you kind of happy with where you're at with the cleans?
Well, I think right now I'm very happy where I am, with the clean vocals. I still feel I have loads of stuff to learn. I still feel very inspired. I do miss doing the death metal vocals a little bit, because I think it's a very cool element, and it can bring that extra aggression where it's needed. But I sort of lost I couldn't do them anymore. Something in my throat
Right.
said no about it, and I sort of lost the technique, and I never really tried to get it back because I was just starting doing the clean vocals, and I didn't want to screw up my throat too much, you know. So, but I do miss it a little bit. Luckily, you know, there are quite a few people that can do it well, so I don't have to get back to doing it.
You know, when, how do I put this? Shit. I just went on a blank. You know, so when you talk about clean vocals in like a performing, like, so say you're at a show and you had a choice between doing the two. What do you enjoy more about it?
I think clean vocals these days. When I started doing the clean vocals, I would probably have loved to just go back to death metal vocals because it's the clean vocal thing is such a broad, you know, it's a palette. You can do so many things with it, and as I said before, I'm still not, you know, capable of doing a lot of the stuff that you can do with clean vocals. But at least it's something that keeps you busy because you, at least for me, I can improve all the time.
Right.
But I think, you know, as you mentioned, a live setting, I think death metal vocals goes down very well in a live setting because it's all about the energy.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be sure, but I probably do the clean vocals
Hell yeah.
these days. Yeah.
So off the topic of like death metal and stuff, I'm gonna give a shout out to my buddy Alex. He used to be in a band called Primal Scream Therapy, and he introduced me to Nightmares Made Flesh, and that was probably my introduction to the genre death metal. So that's why I'm so like hyped that I'm talking to you.
Cool.
You know, so where do you think that album has shined or like shadowed on like the current Bloodbath like discography?
I think, you know, it's probably our most popular album still because it's very varied, and we had 3 songwriters doing kind of different stuff on the album, so it has a wide broadcast of sort of different styles in death metal. You have the really fast stuff, and you have some really slow stuff as well going on. And I think a lot of people can connect to that because death metal is, you know, as you know, it's a very it's a genre that has a lot to offer. At least if you're into the music, you can hear very different kinds of death metal. And I think this album showcased a lot of different styles, and I think that's why people like it so much. Also, it had Peter Tegtgren on vocals, which I think is also added to the kind of energy that the album has, because he was he was fresh in the band at the time. I think he wanted to prove that he was a good fit for us, and I think he did it very well. So he was full of energy as well. So it's you know, it's one of those lucky albums, I guess, where you know, the stars align and you hit all the right buttons at once.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely. I think the cool thing about that album is like the production. It's like just right on par. Like it's raw, but it's like produced at the same time.
Exactly.
It's like perfect. It's like exactly where the pocket should be.
Yeah.
And like the hooks in that album, holy shit, man! Like, god damn.
Yeah, it's full of hooks. Actually, it's probably our most hooky record so far, at least. I think after Nightmares, we sort of wanted to walk down another path a little bit. We did some more faster stuff and a bit more brutal stuff, and then lately we've been doing a little bit more of the raw, even a little bit black metal influenced stuff. But that's the fun thing about Bloodbath, because we feel at least that we can do anything as long as it's connected to death metal, because the band itself started as a tribute to this music style that we loved so much. So we have this we always say that, what's the next album going to be? Is it going to be a Swedish death metal album, or a Florida kind of, or a black metal album? We have the freedom to choose, and I think maybe a lot of bands feel that they have to stick with their formula, which is great as well. But for us, it works really well with doing whatever we feel like.
Right. I was actually supposed to see you guys. You were playing a show in Toronto. I'm like 3 hours away, but I was going to trek it all the way. I don't know if that was during the COVID season, or I have no idea. It got canceled.
Yeah.
But I was so bummed, man.
Yeah.
Do you have plans coming back to the States?
Yeah, I mean, we had the tour that we were going to do. It's been canceled 3 times now for different reasons, and it's that really sucks. So what we're going to do is probably when all of this the pandemic situation, when it blows over, we're going to try and book the dates again. Because I mean, we played with Bloodbath in North America at Maryland Death Fest once, but we never really went around and played other places. So that's something we wanted to do for a long time, and we were all looking forward to it so much, all the 3 times.
Yeah. Well, if you get to trek it across the border from Canada over to the United States, definitely hit Buffalo. Buffalo, I'm telling you, because Cannibal Corpse was like formed there, it's a hot spot for death metal. And I know you'd sell the frickin' place out right away. So Town Ballroom. Town Ballroom.
Okay,
all the way.
Yeah.
So I got 3 small questions for you here. The last one's, so with having like a friendship with Michael from Opeth, how has that built like your musical background, better?
I think he's showed me some amazing music through the years. He's a very open-minded guy, and I mean, he's such a musical nerd, so he knows pretty much everything there is to know about music, except maybe classical music. But all the rock, pop, the stuff from way back in time up until now, he knows about it, and he listens to so much music. So he always, gave me tips on stuff to listen to, and he's a great musician himself. We have been jamming stuff over the years, and I think he's been very valuable for me in a musical perspective, because he's always been supportive, and I've been supportive to his stuff, and we have a very, very nice relationship when it comes to music. We always play new music to each other, and nag a little bit about.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody that's similar in taste, to always be like, hey man, that really sounds good. Because like when it comes down to like writing music, I don't know, for me, like I get burnt out really easy, and just to have that little nudge,
like, it's
pushes
important.
me to,
definitely.
So what was your like upbringing like when you were a kid? Like I'm talking when you were 10.
When I was 10, I think I was just growing into the whole metal thing, because I think I started listening to heavy metal music when I was about 7 or 8, and
wow,
by 10 I was I was so deeply into it. I was devoured by the whole thing, and I was buying magazines and putting posters on my walls. So I think that's where the foundation was for me. That's where it comes from. And I had a
lot earlier than me.
yeah, but I'm old,
Yep.
So, but my upbringing was really it was good, and I had a lot of support from my parents with the whole musical thing. I mean, they were never musicians or anything, but they loved music, and there was always music playing in our home. So when they saw that I had a profound interest in this.
Yeah.
They went with me to the record stores and helped me to buy the albums that I wanted. The
Yeah,
Kiss
they guided you.
yeah,
Right on.
definitely.
Damn, I mean, my father pushed me into like, I don't know, Motley Crue,
Oh,
Metallica, Van Halen, but that was my introduction. But
that's great. That's perfect, actually.
you know, so the last thing I got here is kind of, probably you've been asked this question maybe, but I just want to figure it out. Like what draws you into just death metal in general?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it myself a lot because, uh, when I think I got into death metal when I was maybe about 15 or something, and it just clicked with me because I was into metal before that. As I said, the heavy metal and the thrash stuff. But when I found death metal, it was like something really clicked. Um, I guess it's the whole thing with the aggressive sound, but also the dark nature of the lyrics, and it was a bit almost. It felt like forbidden to listen to, and it appealed to me when I was young, and it still does. It's not something that I grown out of at all. It's still, even though Katatonia is my main band, we don't sound anything like death metal anymore, but
Right.
and I love the kind of sound that we have, and I listen to a lot of other kinds of music, but to me death metal is the ultimate music style. It has everything for me in there.
It's raw and in your face.
Yeah.
That's about all I could frickin' summarize it as.
Yeah,
So.
and it's all you need if you're a certain kind of person, I think. I mean, it's definitely not for everybody, but if you have a soft spot for, like horror movies, and if you're into a bit of, dark stuff, occultism, whatever, it's there for you, and it's great.
Right on. So at the end here, I usually just let you promote whatever you have coming, merch, anything new. Go ahead.
I mean, we released a new Katatonia album in April, and so far we haven't been able to promote it properly because of the situation, the current situation. So I would urge people to pick that up if they have the chance. Up until we can get on tour again, it would be nice to to see some sales and stuff. But other than that, as for Bloodbath, we're actually writing some material right now, and just getting ready to get back to, maybe recording an album and see whatever, what happens after this whole pandemic shit.
Pandemic shit. That's fucking right, man. Yeah. I've had enough with it.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, Graham, thank you. We did it.
Fuck yeah, we did it. Yeah.